Hey, Camp Girl Boss, it's Emily Breedlove, and I am so excited about today's interview because it is on one of my favorite things ever, pitching, with a phenomenal woman calling in from New York City or Brooklyn, right? You're in New York and Brooklyn. So this is Precious, and she is the queen of perfect pitches. So she's going to talk to us about what is a pitch and how to be awesome at pitching. So, hey, Precious, thank you so much for joining us today.
Girl, I'm so excited to be here. Camp Girl Boss, let's do it.
Yes. All right, campers, you know the drill. We are live streaming in the forum. So if you've got some questions, post them. I will be scouring all the forums and asking Precious while we're live. Also, if you have questions that I can't get to, I will send them to her after the video and we will get you some answers. But so, Precious, we are going to dive into all things pitching. Are you ready to share your phenomenal wisdom with our girl
Girl,
bosses?
bring it, bring it.
Okay. So, as you know, in Camp Girl Boss at the very end, once the girls have created their business idea and gone through all the things, they build their 60-second pitch. So, it's a big part for the girls as well as for all entrepreneurs. But so, to get this started, I was wondering if you could define a pitch. How do you define it?
So I define a pitch or pitching as a short, brief introduction into who you are, maybe your business, your book, your product, or your service, so that you get to the next step of them asking you questions and wanting to continue the conversation or setting you up for the next meeting. What you want to do is give them a tasty morsel, not the whole bite. You want to give
Mhm.
them a tasty morsel that interests them to keep going forward with you. So that's what I look at pitching as.
Well, so, I'm a huge advocate of pitching.
Mhm.
Why do you think it is so important, especially for a woman entrepreneur, for a girl boss?
I think pitching is important for a girl boss because without it, you start to sound and act like everybody else. When you have the type of pitch that can stop traffic or just stop someone in their tracks, they're going to remember you. So if you start sounding like every other girl or every other woman, no one pays you any attention. That's why I say
Mhm.
embrace difference with your pitch. If everybody's saying, my name is this and this is my company, my name is this, and I go here, do something totally different. They're going to remember you because of that. So embrace your difference. It's like I showed up very glitzy today, right? Very much like a disco ball. I know young
Nice.
ladies, y'all might not even know what a disco ball is. I'm sorry. But just shiny, like drip, drip. Came through dripping, drip, drip. I do that on purpose because I don't want to look like anybody else and sound like anybody else. So embrace what makes you different. Truly. I cut off all my hair, y'all. Look at that.
It looks very nice. You
Thank
look
you.
you look very shiny today. I
You
should
know, I
have
try
worn
to be
mine.
shine. I try to shine bright like a diamond, Rihanna.
I love it. Well, and so, one of the biggest challenges is when you are out in the world and you're talking to people that, especially when you're talking to someone that you have a lot of respect for, or you're
Right.
in a situation that's kind of intimidating and you get a little flustered. There's nothing worse than having a conversation and looking back and being like, that is not what I wanted to say at all. Right?
Right.
Like,
Hmm.
where you're just like, what was that? And
Yes.
that's why having a pitch is so helpful because it really is just like that 1 minute script, the thing that you practice and that you can really nail when you're in the moment and you get the butterflies and you know
Yes.
what you want to say. You know how you want to be memorable. And it's
Yes.
not cheesy, it's not a cliche. It is one of the biggest tools that you can have in being able to show up in the world.
It's like you only get one chance to make a first impression. So your first impression, you want to be poised and polished. You want to sound like you're about that life, right?
Mhm.
And then you can take the conversation in another direction.
Yeah.
Because now you've established trust in that, hey, this isn't just some young lady. This is some little girl. This girl is talented. This girl is
Mhm.
on point. Hold up. What's she talking about?
Mhm. They're going to
I
listen
even
to
heard
you.
I heard that there's some young ladies here who have businesses, and I'm just like, at your age,
Many.
okay, well, now mind you, yeah, I'm 41. I used to be your age. I know it's
You
hard to
also want
believe.
to say something?
I used to be your age. At that age, I don't know if I was alive.
At 8 and 9 and 10? No. This
Hmm,
generation is on fire. I
they're on
love them. It's
fire,
so
and
much
that's why
fun.
they're girl bosses.
Mhm.
I love it.
Well, so okay, so you talk about making a good impression. So the next question is about what elements do you see that make a good pitch and what elements make a bad pitch?
Let's start with bad. That would
Right?
be
It's always better
boring.
to start with bad.
Don't be boring.
Yeah.
Number two, don't ramble on and on and on and on and on. Here's a word that I didn't understand when I was younger: brevity,
Yeah.
being very, very short. Like and expressing yourself, but not needing to just ramble and ramble and ramble or go on and on and on. If you keep it succinct, you keep it tight, they're gonna love you.
Hmm.
So don't be boring. Don't just talk out. In St. Louis, we used to call it "Don't talk out the side of your neck." Nobody cares about what's coming out the side of your neck.
Hmm.
A good pitch really talks about who you are as a person, not just the business that you have. So remember this, ladies, young ladies, who you are is more important than what you do. I'm the killer pitch master. I'm a 13-time national champion, been on everything from Shark Tank to CNN to Wall Street Journal, movies around the world. Yeah, you heard me right. Around the world, Italy, Australia, your girl's in it. When I was your age, I didn't even think that was possible. And y'all already got me beat because y'all like, oh, we making coins today.
Hmm.
I don't even think I knew what coins were, but whatever. What I learned is when you speak with confidence, even if you're speaking to grown people, they remember it because they're not used to. Most grown women I know don't have confidence, and y'all have the
Mm-mm.
confidence to pull off a business. Who does that? I
Hmm.
want to be around y'all all day, every day. Y'all giving me energy. So a great pitch. It talks about yourself. What is special about you? Not how you're like Sally and Jane. What makes you different? You know what makes me different? I change my hair like I change underwear daily. Tomorrow I might have blue hair. I know you're thinking, nah, no grown people do that. Don't let me show you a picture when I was at Microsoft with blue hair.
Nice.
They don't care. So talk about yourself and what makes you different. Something else I want you to do is when you're talking about your company or something that you really, really want to start, is that you have done your research on it. You can talk intelligently about it. And finally, what's your call to action? What do you want them to do after they talk to you? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to check you out on TikTok? I don't know. Do you want them to go to your YouTube channel? Make them go somewhere. That way you keep the conversation fresh. And some of y'all may even have business cards. Y'all be dropping them like it's hot. Bam!
Hmm. Yeah, that's the
So
goal,
those
right?
are elements of a good pitch.
Amen. Well, and I love that because those are all the things that we cover. So you and I are right on the same page. The girls are already working on that. The very last step is their call to action.
Right.
And that's one of the beautiful things about trying to do a 1-minute pitch is hitting on that word that you used, brevity.
Yes.
Being able to do it in one powerful sentence, right? When every word you pick because it means something to you and it
Yeah.
really reflects what you stand for.
Right.
That's how people get really good at talking about who they are and the work that they do. And it's one of the biggest game-changing pieces of those who are doing it and who are making strides and those who are still trying to figure it out.
We're
And it's
talking
cool to
about
be
you
on both
talking.
sides. Yeah, but it's
I
when
said,
you're ready
you
to
can talk a
go,
good
it's
game or you can be about that game. I'm about that
yes.
life. I'm so about that life. Like, I'm not here to talk about pitching from a book standpoint.
Yeah.
As a champion and as someone who judges other people on how they speak, do you know that when you speak to someone with confidence, you knock their socks off because most people don't have it. Even grown people don't have it. I'm
Yes.
looking you in your eye. I'm not playing with you. I want you to see me. I'm not afraid. You may be grown. You could be even be Oprah. I'm gonna look her in the eye.
Mhm.
What we talking about?
Good. Well, and so that confidence really comes from, knowing these things and practicing those things. Okay, so a lot of these girls are some of the girls have their business that they're already running. A lot of these girls are really just starting for the first time. The
Mhm.
next question is, when do you think is the best time for girl bosses to start working on their pitch? Like when in the process does it make sense?
So when I started, I literally did it like from day one. It sounds so strange from day one. So when I was doing the research and coming up with the idea, how would I present this to someone? And that's how I did it. Some people will say wait to the end, and that's great, but you can do that. You can remember you have a business plan, but
Mhm.
when you're pitching, you're doing a juicy morsel. How could you in a short way with brevity, tell someone about you, your business, your company, whatever, and do it in an electrifying way? No boring, no mediocre.
Well, and because that's also, throughout that whole process, when you are having conversations with people, whenever you do customer discovery calls or you're doing market research, or even you're just talking to your friends and family about it, ultimately you're practicing your pitch, how you say it, right? So it really is anytime that you're sharing it, in essence, that is your pitch. And so being able to refine it so they get it,
Yes,
that's really important, even from the beginning.
definitely. Definitely.
Okay, so for those who are just getting started, let's first talk about the writing of the pitch. What tips do you have when people are drafting or writing it out?
When people are, what my first recommendation when you're first drafting your pitch is to think about these particular questions. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you want to work with? Who do you already work with? What problem or what challenge are you solving with your service or your product? How do you do it? What's your secret sauce? What makes you different?
Mhm.
Invite them to go the next step with you. Can you set up a meeting? Can they go to your website? Can you want to instruct them on what to do next, which is why you have to have a call to action. So that's just basic, just to get started, right? So you start
Mhm.
writing out those answers. And when you start writing them out, the next thing that you're going to do is start putting the words together as if you're saying it. Because at first you're just getting the words out. Like, what
Mhm.
is it about you? Like, there's something about Precious, there's something about Emily. What has people been telling you over time about yourself? That's usually a good place to start.
Yeah. Well,
And
and
then
I
you can,
love I love Post-it notes too.
yeah,
As you're like brain dumping and you're coming up
yeah,
with all these ideas, and you can just put Post-it notes
right,
everywhere and then start pulling it together.
right.
Mhm.
And then you want to answer this question: why should they work with you?
That's the big one.
Why?
Mhm.
What's special? What's so? Even if you know what makes you different, is that different worth paying for?
Yeah. And knowing the way that they would describe why they
Yes.
would work for
So,
you.
what pain point, what challenge are you solving?
Mhm.
And is that the way they would put it? You're right. If you change your language, you change the game.
Mhm. If you're speaking their language, then they're gonna
Yes.
get it.
Right. Right.
So then the last question is, because as we know, pitching is not just the words, it's not just writing it, it's really delivering it,
And
right?
emotionally being connected to it.
Yes. So what tips do you have on practicing the delivery of your pitch?
So I'm someone, because I'm a champion and I've been speaking since I was 16 years old. One of the things that I do is I always practice in front of the mirror hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. When before the pandemic, I used to go to coffee shops too, and I would test out my material on disinterested parties.
Oh, nice.
And it was so fun. No one ever told me no. It could be because I'm 5'9", kind of tall, but no one ever said no. And if I got a reaction, good or bad, I was on the right track. I knew it, right? Because
Mhm.
you want people to have a reaction. If you're just pitching and people are like this,
That they're not even looking at you?
it's a problem. Start
Mhm.
over. Start over.
Yeah.
So again, you want to start from scratch, and you want to be practicing so that you sound, lack a better term, coherent when you're out there. And then the more you practice, even if you mess up, no one else knows.
Yeah.
Do you know I have 10-minute pitches in my brain? I have 5 minutes, I have 2 minutes, I have 1 minute. In every competition I've been in, I've had to pull from all of them because I forgot where I was in the process. But
Oh, yeah.
because I've rehearsed, I can pull it at a moment's notice.
Yep. Well, that's awesome, and I am super excited about being able to potentially bring you back later for more
Hmm.
Girl Boss stuff because pitching is so huge, but I just am really grateful for you joining us today and sharing your wisdom with all the campers, so thank you,
All
Precious.
those girl bosses.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, Emily. And I miss Emily. And thank you so much to the young ladies watching today.
Awesome. Well, campers, if you have a question that you think of that you want me to send to Precious, I will email it to her and get you some answers. Either way, we will see you back here tomorrow for the next live stream, and thank you again, Precious, for joining us.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye, everybody.